good.
I'll tell you this, Brandon, uh, my my fondest memory of Brandon, I started my career at Scottsboro,
Did you?
and I sure did. And Brandon was in the youth wrestling when I was there, and I was at youth practice one night, and I kicked him right in the head. I kicked him right in the head. It was inadvertent, didn't mean to, but he remembers. He remembers. Well, I don't know that he remembers me kicking him, but he and I have talked about it. But I did. I kicked him right in the head. I felt awful.
I say, welcome to Matburn. Today we're going to be talking with Coach Matt Hicks, and joining me is Brandon Womack, the newly engaged Brandon Womack. Where's he going? He's running away.
Sorry about that.
Run, Brandon, run.
I know. But now I'm super excited. I got engaged this weekend to a girl I met up at school, and she's amazing. Been waiting to do this for a little while, but the quarantine kind of put a damper on everything. But it was really awesome. I'm excited and ready to move forward in life. So
she's a Cornell gal?
She is. She's from Minnesota. She's a Midwestern girl.
Yeah, so she's clearly smart enough for you. Maybe too smart.
Better looking than I am, so I think I came out ahead on that one.
So the trip to see her family up in Wisconsin didn't scare you off at all?
No, not too much. They're really good people, so I'm super excited.
All right, so Coach Matt Hicks is a legend in the state. He's coached in many different schools, and he wins wherever he goes. So that's why I'm excited to talk to him, pick his brain, and kind of see how he does this. In different places, and year after year is consistently winning when he starts over fresh all the time. And he just announced that he's now going to be coaching at Hoover High School coming up next year with Coach Jacob Gadosh. It's very exciting. It's going to really be a big rivalry this year with the Vision Quest duels.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, so many of these people are my friends, and we've been, we've locked horns for years and years and years. So it's one of those things where, when I first came into coaching, his buddy Steve is who everybody wanted to be. Everybody wanted to, accomplish the things that Steve had accomplished and everything. And so things kind of come full circle. So I'm really looking forward to it.
So when you say full circle, when did you start? Where did you start? And take us on your path to how you got to here.
It's crazy how it all worked out. I came out of school. I graduated college in '98, and I had the opportunity to go to two schools. One was Daphne High School down on the coast, and the other was Scottsboro. And I interviewed with Coach Savarese, who's now in charge of the AHSAA. I interviewed with him, and he was like, "We're really interested. We'll let you know in the next day or two." Well, I interviewed with Larry Morris up in Scottsboro like the next day, and he offered me the job. So Savarese actually called me back when I was moving into Scottsboro. So my first year, I was a volunteer assistant, so I didn't get paid. Second year, Coach Wayne McNutt, who was the head coach at Scottsboro, retired, and his assistant was due to take over, and for whatever reason, they couldn't get on the same page with the assistant and the administration, and they came to me around the first day of school and said, "You want to coach wrestling?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to." I'm thinking I'm going to be an assistant, right? Great, you're the head job. You're the head coach. So they had won a state championship. They had finished second my first year there, and then bang, here I am a year out of college, and I'm a head wrestling coach. And oddly enough, I've been a head wrestling coach ever since. That first year, we finished a half point out of second, and I got fired. So, Brandon, to tell you, they expect to win in Scottsboro, Alabama. It's the only job I've ever been fired from. So, so I left there, went to Claiborne County. I was in Heflin for 5 years, Left there, went to St. Clair County, and I was there for 9. And then, of course, I went with Keith Etheridge over to Leeds. We won our first state title in 2011 at St. Clair County. Then I went to Leeds, and we were fortunate enough to win them in football and wrestling in 14 and 15. I went to Oxford. After Keith left Leeds, they called me at Oxford. We were fortunate enough to win state titles in 16-17, state duels 16-17. And then the man that hired me at Leeds was actually at Princeton. So he offered me the opportunity to come to Princeton. I was there 2 years, and then Coach Nix left there. And Coach Hatmaker left there, and Coach Niblett called me, and oddly enough, they got my number through Todd Bates, who I coached at Heflin, who's now the defensive line coach at Clemson. So that's how he got my name. And so he told Coach McGee told Niblett called me, and one thing led to another. I talked to Jacob, and I was like, I'm not an egomaniac. I just want to coach, and there's something very appealing about not being the head coach. There's a lot of stuff that's not a whole lot of fun there, but just getting to coach the kids and be around the sport, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. I've never not been the head coach, with the exception of that first year at Scottsboro. I've always been the head coach, so I'm kind of looking forward to just coaching the kids. Just enjoying the sport and coaching the kids, and try to get one in 7A. I don't have one in 7A. I've got them in 4A, 5A, and 6A, but I ain't got one in 7A. So let's try to go get one there. Hey, what I was talking about is Steve Gaydosh basically was the portrait of what wrestling was in the state of Alabama. I mean, the man won countless. Even then, he had won, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 state championships by the time I had graduated college. So, I mean, when you looked at him, it was like, yeah, that's who I want to be. I want to be that guy, because and still to this day, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you know him pretty well. He walks in the room, he commands the room. Amongst us that love wrestling, you want to listen to what comes out of that man's mouth, because, he's probably forgotten more than I will ever know. And I'm okay with that, because, it's fun just to listen to his stories. I bet you the highlight of my state tournament this past year was 30 minutes in the hospitality room talking to Steve Gaydosh.
Yeah, he's a legend. He's like a Nick Saban type, just has years and years and years of continued success. And that's not a bad thing to aspire to be. But now you're working with his son. I mean, you can't get much better than that, right?
I hope so. I'm excited about it. I really am. Jacob's real big on strengths and weaknesses, and he's real quick to point out this is a strength of mine. But he's also quick to point out this is a weakness of mine. So I have been incredibly blessed in the last several years with my assistant coaches. I mean, the list of people that have coached with me over the last 5 or 6 years is stupid. I mean, when you can go back to Oxford. My first year at Oxford, I had Scott Peavy, who was a wrestling coach up in Madison County. He's the head football coach at Harrison County, Georgia now. Scott Peavy, Josh Pate, who's the head coach at Mortimer, Jordan now. DC Hall, who's at Mountain Brook now. Unbelievable head coaches. Head coaches in their own right. And they came and they were able to help me out. And this past year, I had Justin Reynolds my first year, who was Penson's former head coach. I'm sorry. And then my second year, I had Chris Pike. He was at Thompson for years and years. He was there. And Chris will probably sooner or rather, he's a former head coach. He'll be a head coach again. So, I've had unbelievable guys that have helped me out. So, I know how important those guys were to me and how grateful I were to them. I just want to be that guy for Jake. I just want to be that guy that drives the bus, mops the mat, whatever. I just want to be that guy.
Yeah, well, you're going to get all the fun stuff, and he's going to have to, order the singlets and make the schedules and
precisely.
Yeah, do the fundraiser.
Isn't that lovely? That is lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. I got to be an assistant this year in a middle school, and I just showed up for practice, and when it was done, I went home. And he had to field the parent phone calls and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not about all that.
Yeah, so I know this guy. He's a 6-time state champ, and people are recruiting him to coach, and but he still hasn't committed. Yeah, that guy right there. He hasn't committed to anything. So, you still might have a shot at him.
He knows my number. He still, I'm telling you, I told you earlier, he still has one of my T-shirts. I gotta get that back from him. He borrowed from me. We had him come to Oxford one day, and he helped us with a camp one day. He actually reaffirmed my strong love of the Peterson. Yes. My kids said, that don't work. And he's like, I hit it 5 times on the way to being the D1 All-American. I think it works okay.
So how old was Brandon when you first met him?
Oh, gosh. He was in Scottsboro Youth. I don't know how young he was, but it was in one of those first 2 years. It was in the second year I was at Scottsboro. So 1999. How old were you in 1999, Brandon?
4.
There you go. So he was probably 4 or 5 years old.
Hey, so you were telling me before Brandon got on that you kicked him in the head. I didn't realize he was 4 years old when you kicked him in the head.
Sure did. He was in there wrestling, and yeah, I was in there. I was wrestling with somebody, and so next thing you know, I've done kicked him in the head. And I tell you that story. I had remembered kicking someone, but and I didn't remember who. And Jay Knight, Jonathan, actually said, "Yeah, that was Brandon you kicked in the head that time." I was like, "Oops, I didn't mean to." But I've already apologized to him, and he came to Oxford. I apologized to him. So.
But he won't give you back the shirt, so clearly he didn't.
That's okay. Turnabout's fair play. It's all right.
Yeah, I think that's what started the direction I headed. Just I was always everywhere, all over the room. I was liable to get hurt at all times, so that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah, that's what your mom said. She couldn't keep you off the mat. She was scared to death.
Yeah, for sure. But earlier you were talking about how Scottsboro is pretty tough, and you said that's the only job you've ever been fired from. Were you coaching with Coach McNutt, or he left and then you were the head coach for a year?
With McNutt, my first year, I volunteered with Coach McNutt, and I volunteered with Coach McNutt, and Coach Rutledge was his assistant. And then the next year, McNutt retired, and Rutledge was going to be the head coach. For whatever reason, that fell through. And so we're getting ready to start school, and they don't have anybody. And they're like, you're going to coach wrestling. And so when I tell you tough, how about this? How about I coached middle school football that year, coached the wrestling team. We finished a half point, 0.5, 1 half point out of second place. Okay? End of the school year, they gave me teacher of the year for Scottsboro City Schools, and 2 weeks later, they fired me. So I got a plaque and a pink slip within about 2 weeks of each other.
Wow.
Dang, that's rough.
They had no history to compare it to either, right? So.
Okay, God had a plan. It worked out. I was upset at the time, but it's one of those things where I wouldn't give those 2 years back because I learned more. I learned more and met more important people in those 2 years. I mean, Coach Jonathan. Jonathan was probably the single best wrestler I've ever had the pleasure of coaching. I met Arturo when I was there. The opportunity to coach with or coach against Pruitt when they were first starting their ascension to what they became at A-Rod. I mean, I just wouldn't give that time back for any amount of money. It's just I learned so much. I learned so much in a year. Those first 2 years. Michael Stout, but I learned a lot about legs watching Michael Stout and Scott Cuthbertson and Jeff Cuthbertson and Micah Guillory and Matt Griffin and Jody Taylor. We can go on and on and on with names that Brandon probably recognizes. Some of you will, some of you won't, but great people. I still talk to Bob Cuthbertson to this day, online, but probably once or twice a month. He'll just hit me up, and I mean, just great people up there. It's just the environment in and of itself. It was. If you're not from Scottsboro, you're not from Scottsboro. If you are, very clannish up there.
Is there another generation of Cuthbertsons coming through soon?
So they're all in Tennessee now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're actually all over. Yep. and they're all pretty young. I think they had 3 or 4 girls to start, and they were all probably 7, 8 years old now. I'm guessing maybe a little bit older. But they're not quite there yet. I'm sure they'll start getting there. They had a couple little boys I know Bob and them were excited about, and they are some of the best people you'll ever meet. A story about Bob is he's probably one of the main reasons that I went to Arturo's and had the success. I mean, obviously his kids and everything, they were awesome, and I looked up to them and kind of idolized them. But Bob, he still talked to me every year at college. He's one of the true people that believed in me all the way through, had my back always, and yeah, he definitely put me on the journey, gave me direction when I was struggling. Just an outside source. It's awesome to have your family, your support system, and everything, but when you have someone else that truly believes in you, it's always pretty nice. And he always put things in perspective. He's one of the greats that I think go underestimated. I mean, he did a lot of good things. He made a lot of people really successful in wrestling, but he really was never recognized. He never was acknowledged, I guess. I mean, you look at his boys, they're all successful. And then a lot of other people at Scottsboro had a lot of success because of Bob Cuthbertson.
Well, one of the things I've always liked about Matt is that he's pro girls wrestling, and we'll get those Cuthbertson girls on the mat. He won't have to wait for the boys.
We have to get them down from Tennessee or Utah or wherever. I know Bob's in Tennessee, but I don't know where Scott and Jeff and Rick and I don't know where all those the younger ones. I coach Scott and Jeff. I don't know where Michael and Colin Chase. I don't even know where all those guys are. But amazing family, and hey, the glue that held them together. Miss Cuthbertson ain't a bad one either. They were really, really good to me. I wasn't there long, but they were unbelievably good to me and been very supportive of me and throughout my career. So I can't thank them enough. They're special people.
It's great. I like the common thread that you both have with Arturo. So there's got to be some connection to greatness with Arturo.
He's something. He's a machine. He's like 70 now, and he's still a machine. It doesn't matter.
Is he really that old?
He doesn't age. He's immortal. I don't know how old he is, but he's immortal. He's never going to die. I mean, that guy's he's like that Energizer Bunny. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he drinks unicorn blood, from what I heard.
Probably, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
Didn't you say you were going to dress up like a unicorn this week? And
I do that every now and then. I'll throw glitter around the room, dress up like a unicorn, wear a horn on my head. Just because people think I won't. So you got to keep folks guessing, otherwise you become boring.
How many daughters do you have?
3.
3. That's what I thought. And they're all softball players, correct?
My youngest, as a matter of fact, just signed to play at Judson. She'll be leaving us here before too long. She's actually sitting right over here next to me, trying not to smile too big. And I'm gonna turn and put you on TV, Kylie. And she's saying, no. Here she is. Say, hey, Kylie. There she is.
Well, give her a big congratulations from us.
Oh yeah, we're really excited about it. She's worked hard. And my middle one graduated from Bevel State. She does hair and she played softball there. And my oldest just moved back from Washington State. Actually moved here like 2 weeks before the COVID deal went crazy in Washington State, right there in Seattle, right where she came from. And we're like, oh great. But we're all here. We moved back to Odenville, and just blessed to be here. Got all my kids under the same roof again, which is a blessing in and of itself. So,
how long will that last?
How long?
Are you about to be an empty nester?
No, I don't see my kids going anywhere. Shoot, I got one starting college. He ain't going nowhere for at least 4 years. No, not. We wanted. When I came to St. Clair County, 2005, I think. When we came here, we wanted this house, and we couldn't afford it. And so, I was at St. Clair County, and then I was at Leeds, then I was at Oxford, and oddly enough, this is the house that we just bought this past year. Is the house we wanted from the get-go that we couldn't afford, and so we were able to buy this house. We're sitting on about 2 acres, and we got I got a 2-bay garage on a concrete slab. I've got a whole outbuilding that's tiled in that I can set up my man cave. I got a little she shed over here where my daughter tinkers in there. My middle daughter tinkers around. Everybody's got a room, kind of spread out, but they're gonna carry me foot first out of this place. We love it here. It's kind of out in the country. Nobody. But put it like this: my neighbor is about a mile from me, and it's a church. Yeah, I mean,
you could have worse neighbors.
Do what now?
You could have worse neighbors.
Oh yeah, it's outstanding. We built a cornhole pit, and we've thrown so many bags over the break. I think our arms are gonna fall off. And we built a fire pit, and we go out there and s'mores it up and cook sausage on the fire, and we've just had a big old time out here. So we're not looking to go nowhere. We're good.
I think you're about to have your longest commute.
Nah, it ain't but 40, maybe 45 minutes. 45 minutes from where I'm at. It was 41 to Pinson from here. It was 42 to Oxford.
Huh.
And my wife is the special needs coordinator at Pelham City Schools. So she's been driving it for 6 years. 6 years.
We just had an interview with Hassan Hawthorne yesterday. Yeah, speaking of.
My wife knows Hassan real well.
Yeah, not that
his coach, going back to what I was saying before, his coach, or one of his coaches was Chris Pike. That was his head coach. I think Chris actually got him into wrestling when Chris was at Pelham. Then, of course, he bounced around, went to Thompson. He was with Welton forever. Left Welton last year, and he was my assistant at Pinson. I've had phenomenal. I've been very, very blessed. Aaron Edwards, who was at corner last year, helped out at Dora for years. He was one of my assistants through this thing. So I've just been, I've been lucky. I've been very, very, very lucky.
Yeah, I wish it had occurred to me that Chris was your assistant. I should have invited him on too.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to him in quite a while. But I hear
he's in touch with. I'll get him. You can get him on here. He loves publicity. Of course, he's got a face made for radio, but you can get him on here.
That's funny. I'm going to let Brandon jump in because I notice he has to keep turning off his microphone for the feedback. So I'll give him a second to jump in.
Oh, yeah. I was just going to ask, you've had so much success all over the state, wherever you go. I remember when you were at St. Clair County, and I talked to some of the guys on the team, and they just loved you and everything you did. And everywhere you've been, you've won state many times. You've had a lot of success. I was just curious, as a coach, what kind of, is it a culture that you try to instill? Do you think I know you're attributing a lot to your coaching staff and stuff like that, but it's really cool to see someone have that much success in the state of Alabama and just going from school to school. So I guess more or less, how do you do it?
It's going to sound corny, but I think you can fool kids as a teacher, as a coach, in any role you're serving. I think you can fool kids about a lot. You can fool them about how much you know. You can fool them, about a lot. The one thing you can't fool them about is whether or not you truly care about them. And I've always tried to make it a point of trying to find what a kid does well and sticking with that. There's not a style. I don't attribute to a style. Kids gravitate, especially now, Brandon, you know as well as anyone, you're going to be influenced by any number of people. You've got club coaches. You've got camps you go to. You've got, you're going to run into things you like. And I've heard people say, well, I don't like legs. Well, you're not wrestling. You're over there in the corner. You're not wrestling. That kid's wrestling. That kid's comfortable with legs. So let him run legs, or, I don't like upper body, or I've never been that guy that says, well, I don't want you to go to this coach, or I don't want you to go to that coach. I've always encouraged my kids, hey, if you're comfortable, I've had kids at Ironclad, I've had kids from Warrior, I've had kids at Wrestling. I've had kids go to all number of camps, and I don't discourage any of it. Go where you're comfortable, and we're going to find something that you do well, and we're going to live there. That's going to be our box. We're going to live there. So, like I said, I won my last wrestling match in 1992. That's the last time I won one. I've been blessed enough to have unbelievable kids, and the way my career path has taken place, I've been at some pretty amazing places. At the end of the day, that one in 2011, that state championship in 2011 at St. Clair County, that one's the crown jewel because that was 6 years. I was there 6 years, and that was the first one, and then things kind of fell into place after that. So the thing. Not getting long-winded, but I'll tell you this. The thing I'm probably most proud of as far as the coaching thing is from when we went to St. Clair in 2005 until my first year at Pinson, we never finished out of the top 5. And that's the thing I've always, I want to build a program. I'm about a program. I'm not about a year. You can take kids, when you get there, you can take a group of 7th graders and just hammer them, work on them, and then 6 years later, you win a state championship. Well, how are you that 7th year? Are you going to get that 7th year? Because if you're not, you didn't do anything to help the program. You built a team, but you didn't build a program. So the cool thing was that from 2006 through 2019, so what's that, 13 years in a row, we were in the top 5, be it St. Clair, Leeds, wherever we were. So that was pretty cool, is that longevity of, I'm not always going to be great, but I never want to be bad. You know what I mean? I can't stand to be bad. So I've been very, very blessed. It's no secret sauce. If there was, I would love to sell it, but I don't know. I've just been very, 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 very fortunate and had unbelievable kids, hungry kids, man. St. Clair County wanted to win at something. They never won at nothing. They had one state championship in any sport in the history of the school. They had one. And they just wanted to win. And then you get the Leeds, they've never won one in wrestling. Same thing at Oxford, they had never won one in wrestling. So they're just really, really hungry kids. You can do a lot. You can do a lot when kids are hungry. They want to listen. So if that answers your question, try to emphasize whatever it is that the kids are comfortable with. Don't try to impose what you like. I like mat wrestling. I like mat wrestling. Arturo was a big neutral guy, right? So I saw what he did for Jonathan. Jonathan Knight, you watch Jonathan, there ain't no Matt Hicks influence anywhere to be found in that kid. Left-handed fireman's low singles out of, that ain't me. But man, he was good at it. He was fun to watch. So be a lifelong learner, right? Always learn.
Were you in Oxford when Eric and Hunter Lee were there?
No, I didn't coach Eric. Eric was around a pretty good bit, but I didn't coach Eric. And Hunter was around some, but Eric's an unbelievable coach. He had that East Alabama Wrestling Club. Some of the kids that went to his club, the Knopp kid was one of his that went on to North Carolina State right now. Matt King that I had at Oxford was one of his. Chase Hicks, Chisholm, Jacob Chisholm. They're both currently still at Oxford. Really good wrestlers. Jaden New was one of his kids. I mean, he had some hammers in that club while he had it too.
And don't forget Hannah Gladden.
No, well, yeah, she's kind of in a class all her own.
Yeah, she's getting ready for the Olympic trials next year. Very exciting, and a lot of that.
My daughter loves her.
Eric.
She could smash a softball too back in the day before she gave it up to. She was a catcher. She could hit it too.
Yeah, her sister was a pitcher and she was the catcher. I made a pretty good team. I was going to ask you if you ever coached softball. I assume you must have at some point.
Yeah, I was the head softball coach at Pinson. I was also the head softball coach at St. Clair County for 7 years. I've actually coached softball every year of my career, with the exception of 4. There were 2 years at St. Clair County and my first 2 years at Scottsboro. Those are the only 2 years in my career that I didn't coach softball. In fact, those are the only 4 years of my career where I didn't coach 3 sports. So, this move to Hoover is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to be down to 2 sports.
So is it? It's football and wrestling, not wrestling.
It is
softball. Okay.
Football and wrestling.
What? Are you a defensive line coach? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
That's
Yeah.
got to be the best position to teach.
Enjoy it. I've had it helps you recruiting wrestlers. I know that. I've had quite a few of my defensive linemen have been pretty good wrestlers.
So I see your microphone going on there, Brandon. Do you want to jump in? I'm trying to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I just have a little bit of feedback here, so I'm trying to keep it muted. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I look at, everything you've done, and I think it's really cool. But and you're headed to Hoover now. What kind of I guess the question I'm trying to ask is you've moved around quite a bit. Is there a reason to the move, or you feel that's right for what's best for you, or you said you've only been fired from one job. So what kind of just a new opportunity, a new challenge? Is that what you're looking for? I'm kind of curious.
Yes and no. Um, so yeah, the, had St. Clair County. When I left St. Clair County, the move basically was you take a right at the red light instead of taking a left. There was no distance change in my house, but there was about $1,000 a year difference between what I made at St. Clair and then what I made at Leeds. And so I went and worked with Leeds. Mike Turner was the principal. Keith Etheridge, who's actually now the head football coach at Oxford, was my boss. And after 2 years, Etheridge left and went to Pell City, and the whole coaching staff left. And, I didn't want to be that guy that was still there, the one coach left over. I didn't want to be that guy. So when Oxford gave me the opportunity to come over there, I went over there and we had some success over there. And I was called and offered the opportunity that I really couldn't refuse at Pinson. I mean, it was, I can retire in 3 years. So it's one of those things where, financially, I mean, they made it impossible for me to just look at it and go, no, I'm just going to stay here, So that led to that. And really, this opportunity at Hoover, it's kind of weird, man. I wasn't looking for a job. I didn't apply for any jobs, I wasn't looking to leave. I was content. We started building the middle school my first year, and I've been there 2 years. And we had 3 county champions, Jefferson County champions as 8th graders this year. And we were building that thing, and I had every intention of coming back. But when, Coach Nidlet calls and says, basically, I'm going to pay you more than what you make now to coach 2 sports instead of 3. And, oh, by the way, you can go watch your kid play, who just signed a softball scholarship at Judson, which if I'm the head softball coach at Princeton, I don't get to watch my kid play. So now all of a sudden, you're going to pay me more money and I get to watch my kid play? I mean, that's kind of a win-win, I mean, and it's Hoover. I mean, not to take anything away, but, it's a huge opportunity, to go over there at a 7A school and battle it out with several of us that are trying to say, hey, don't forget about us. I know Thompson's there and I know Vestalia's there, but, we're still relevant too, and that's exciting to me. I love the underdog thing, I love, people coming in saying, well, it's Thompson's to lose and Vestalia. I got great friends in both schools, but Harley Lamy, who's one of the coaches, Harley, y'all probably both know Big Harley. Harley's like, well, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be your friend anymore if you go to Hoover. I said, no, you'll get over it. So I'm just excited about the opportunity to try to make a difference somewhere. That's it. I mean, I haven't moved because I've wanted to. In fact, I hate it. But, I'm excited. I'm super excited about the opportunities. But I've never taken a job going, man, I'm just going to be here a couple of years and then I'm done. I've never done that. And I didn't do that when I went to Pinson. Didn't do that when I went to Oxford. Thought I'd retire from Oxford. True. I thought I would retire there. I couldn't see any way of getting any better than what it was there. Great situation there. Never saw myself leaving there. Lord had other plans. So, I just go with go with the flow, He opens doors and, you walk through it and and see what happens. I might fall flat on my face. Guess what? Will not be the first time I failed. So I've failed before, but I promise you I'll get up and keep trying. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm super excited.
Well, part of sports is failing, but you don't do that very often. And I don't know how anyone could say no to Hoover football. And so it's not like you left the wrestling program, you gained a football program. So, that, I'm a little impressed and jealous that you get to be on the Hoover coaching staff. And my son played youth football with Coach Niblett's son. And so I was around that before high school, and the program that they have from youth all the way up through high school is just top notch, professional. Couldn't hope for anything better than the Hoover football program. So.
Yeah, I've been around some amazing football coaches. I'm just saying this so everybody can know. I've been around some phenomenal football coaches. From what I found so far in the brief period of time I've been associating over there, they're unbelievable men. I mean, they're unbelievable men. They're about so much more than football, and that's what you see Coach Niblett, and you form these opinions of him or whatever. You see him on the sidelines or whatever. They're just unbelievable men. The rules that the coaches and the players abide by throughout that entire athletic program, you sit there and you go, yeah, I want to be a part of that. I want to attach my name to that. The way they carry themselves, the way they go about their business. I don't know where I've ever seen organization like what I've seen in the last couple of weeks. I mean, just insert breathing here. Tie shoe there. I mean, it's absolutely everything is regimented. Everything is on time. There's a right way to do every single thing. And they made it a point to say, this is the way things are. Love it. I love the discipline of it. He's a really, really, really good guy. And of course, the athletic director at Hoover, he and I have been friends for 18 years. My wife actually served as his wife's assistant principal at Odenville Elementary School. My wife, that's when she first got into administration. She was Miss Urban's assistant principal. We lived in the same neighborhood. So me and Coach Urban have known each other for years and years. It's just things, it's like everything else, man. Things come full circle in this, and especially in this community, this wrestling community, athletic community at Alabama. We just all know everybody. It's everybody knows everybody. So it's kind of neat.
When we started the youth football, they told us that the high school coach pretty much dictated the program from like 7 years old all the way through high school, and said, this is what I want you to teach them. And they came in with this plan. It is already designed from the first practice to the championship, and they just followed it to the letter, and it worked perfectly, and they won the championship. It was remarkable, and the whole town is coordinated in the same fashion. You don't find that anywhere else. I mean, maybe Thompson Wrestling and Warrior Wrestling Club are like that, but when it comes to most wrestling teams, it's hard to get the high school and the youth, and even sometimes hard to get the middle school to get on the same page as the high school. So how are you going to coordinate with the middle school, the Simmons and Bumpus?
I'm going to do whatever Jake tells me to do. I mean, he knew the one thing that we had to work through is, I'm going to be with football hopefully every year through December. I mean, that's the goal, that's the plan. And of course, I will do anything and everything I can possibly do to be a part of whatever's going on the mat during that time. But I'm going to be football, and then as soon as that ends, whenever that ends, I'll just change gears and go into wrestling. Like I said, it's not new to me. It's probably new to Hoover, probably new to different schools. But I mean, I've been going football to wrestling my whole career. So I mean, that's nothing abnormal, nothing strange, nothing out of the ordinary for me. My teams typically didn't get started until the second week in January, and that's been most of my career. We didn't start, I know people start in November now and a bit. and we never really could wrestle, and I was still doing football, so it's nothing new to me. But I will help out in any way, and I've already told Coach Gardosh that whatever you need me to do, you need me to go over there and drive Simmons somewhere to that's fine. Whatever you want me to do, I just want to be an asset in some way, some shape, somehow, and be of service some way. I'm like I said, man, I'm really, really excited about it. I've been incredibly fortunate in my career to have had the opportunity to do a lot of stuff, and it's going to be nice to be able to just be, that guy, that guy in the corner. You can go argue that call. Nope. No, I'm not, because see, I'm not the head coach. I don't get to go over there at that table. That's Jacob. He can go argue that call. I'm just going to sit over here and sit on my hands. So I'm looking forward to it. My wife says she wants me home. She may decide she doesn't want me home as much, being that I'll have the spring off. She may decide that isn't so good after all. But we'll be able to go down to Judson and watch Kylie play and do some things like that. So, I mean, it's just really, really cool. I want to talk about that guy, though, that guy down there, because, man, yeah, I don't know if you realize just how proud you have made the entire wrestling community and the entire state of Alabama, Brandon. I mean, when you start talking, when I start thinking about Alabama wrestling at the next level, I mean, you're one of very few names that really pop into my head. You, Hannah, Jordan, Simpson. You've made so many people so proud. And it's so funny because, like you said, you were 4 when I got there. So I kind of watched you grow up kind of from a distance, and of course you wrestled for one of the legends in high school wrestling. I mean, Coach Qualls is up there with, I mean, he's up there with a lot of folks, and just got in the Hall of Fame, I think, last year. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. But so what are you, I mean, are you going to be able to help out at Scottsboro with Chris, or are you going to be around? Are you going back up north? Are you staying in the state? What are your plans, man?
I'm not really sure yet. So I'm officially graduating here in about 2 weeks. I have this week left of classes, and technically Tuesday is my last day. I'm done with everything other than one paper, and I'll be graduating here in about 2 weeks or so. So super excited about that. But with everything going on with COVID and all that, it kind of put a damper on a lot of job stuff. So I was actually supposed to work in Kentucky, and I was going to live in Tennessee, in Clarksville, Tennessee. That's kind of on a temporary hold, just because we're not really sure the start date and everything and how that's going to work out, because it is a newer company. It's a smaller company, a lot of funding and everything. And just with everything that's happened, it put them in a tight situation. So they're going to try and push it back a couple months, which a lot of employers have done, with like my teammates or whatever. A lot of people got pushed back 3-4 months, internships canceled, etc. So I'm still trying to kind of figure it out. If it doesn't work out in Tennessee, I may try and stay around here, but it kind of really depends on the opportunity. I think kind of in the same situation, you kind of took the opportunities that were in front of you and did what you had to do and change directions or whatever. And I think that's kind of what I'm trying to do. When I went to Cornell, a big reason I went there is to give myself the opportunity to get out of my comfort zone, go get an awesome education, make some connections, and kind of better my life. And I think if I don't take the opportunities that are in front of me or around me, even if I do have to move, it's kind of going to be a detriment to my own, to myself, I guess. So I guess long-winded answer, but not really sure yet. Hopefully, I want to be involved in wrestling to some capacity wherever I go. I'm definitely gonna be coming back home to visit and stuff, and I'll try to be a part of programs or clubs or whatever if I can, and be around wherever I end up settling down. I mean, in Clarksville, I've actually already been in contact with a couple coaches, high school coaches and stuff, and was trying to be involved there. So wherever I go, I'll be involved in wrestling. Hopefully it's in the South, and I'll be back as Alabama as much as I can. But there is a chance that I end up working down here near Huntsville or something. Not 100% sure yet.
You're always welcome wherever I am. I'll talk Jacob into it. You're more. I thoroughly enjoyed having you when you came to Oxford. Thoroughly enjoyed having you there, man. You'll be welcome anywhere I am. So don't get lost. Don't forget where Alabama is. We're not hard to find. We're down here.
Well,
Yes,
we can
sir.
negotiate his release from
I won't get
Matburn
lost.
contract that he has. No, he's got a lifetime commitment to be on the show.
Yeah, I actually really enjoy it. I enjoy being a part of it and coming and hanging out, talking wrestling, talking about Alabama wrestling and how to grow the sport and, what it's done for us and, everything. One question I was actually wanting to ask you about just programs in general. You've seen a lot of different programs, a lot of different different areas, and I guess I'm more curious on how the impact we were talking earlier about like Hoover football and how there was this system all the way from youth up through high school, and it was kind of dictated. I know when Scottsboro had a lot of success for 8-10 years, probably had success more, but during my tenure, I guess, when I was watching the Cuthbertsons and all that, and then when I was in high school, we had a really awesome youth program, and it was kind of a feeder program, and that really made a difference in allowing us to be successful. And you look at Thompson, and they've had a lot of success through AYWA. I remember when that was the program. They were awesome in youth. They had a lot of people down there training when I was young, and that really turned into the people that were at Thompson. And these feeder programs that really allow programs to be successful. And I guess I was just more curious if you've seen that where you've been, or you've kind of had to start from scratch or build that, or what is that? Because I think that's a big part of it. But I was curious what your take on that.
So, and you hit the nail on the head. You have to facilitate that somehow. And obviously the youth that existed at Scottsboro when I got there, that was already well established, which is why they had already had very, very good success. When I went to Heflin, when I went to Cleveland County, that was during the era of Gene Taylor's Weaver teams, where they won state every year in the lowest classification, and they just beat the brakes off of everybody. And what was happening was they were getting a lot of kids in, military kids that had been to different places and been exposed to different things, and there wasn't really club wrestling, with the exception, I think AWC was the only club that existed in Alabama at that time, which is one of the reasons why all the Scottsboro kids were going to Arturo's and going to these places to get opportunities that didn't exist in the state of Alabama at that time. When I came over to St. Clair County, of course, we didn't have any youth at Heflin for 5 years. I mean, basically, had a lot of rural kids, and be one of those things where I can't wrestle because I got to watch my little brother. Okay, well, we're going to get your little brother some wrestling shoes, and he's coming to practice with you. And that's really how that kind of started. Buddy Holman was a kid that was really good for me at St. Clair County. His little brother, TJ Holman, went on to be a 3-time state champion. But I had TJ in the room before he was in the 7th grade, because, he had to go somewhere in the afternoon, and if Bubby had to watch him, then Bubby didn't get to wrestle. So, we had to do stuff like that to get kids in the room, early. Went to St. Clair County, and then that's really, AWC was getting big when I was at Heflin, but I mean, we were in Heflin. We were 2 hours away from that, and most of my kids didn't have the financial resources to come to and from Birmingham to join a club or anything like that. It kind of got easier when I got to St. Clair County because we were a lot closer, and so I was able to encourage kids to be involved with AWC. Really was the closest one was AWC, and so we were able to encourage that. And then later with Ironclad and things like that, when they started growing, we were able to do that. Leeds had their own wrestling club for a brief time before I got there, and then a lot of those guys formed out to the different clubs. But oddly enough, same thing with Oxford. When I got there, they didn't really have a club, but a few of those guys had wrestled with Eric Lee and his East Alabama Wrestling Club. I'd wrestled with him, and several of them had come over and wrestled with Jake. But we didn't really have a club team. Oddly enough, for the first time in my career, Hoover will be the first school that I've been affiliated with, other than Oxford, other than Scottsboro. Hoover will be the first time that I've had the pleasure of having a club team, of having somewhere where all the kids on your team could go. I've never had that, before. So kind of excited about that, because it's like pulling teeth, trying, hey, look, guys, you really need to train in the off season. You really need to be training. You need to be doing something, So having it right there at your disposal, man, I can imagine what a luxury that is. I mean, but in answer to your question, yes, and again, not to beat a dead horse or belittle your point. I think the more people that you are exposed to, the better off you're going to be. The more if I show you 1,000 things, you're probably going to find something you like. Well, if you see 2,000 things or 3,000 things or 4,000, you're probably going to find more stuff you like. You don't know what's going to, you don't know what's going to catch or when it's going to catch or I mean, I'm not trying to stand over myself, but, if I show you 10 things, 11 things, 12 things, you might find one that you'll ever use. Might not like the rest of it, Like how many ways can you counter a headlock, right? Yeah. There's more than one. And most of us aren't going to counter it more than 1 or 2 ways. I mean, we're going to counter. This is the counter we like. This is the one we're going to use. This is the breakdown we like. This is the one we're going to use. You may not like another one. This is the one I like. So in answer to your question, I just think the more they're exposed to different people, it can't hurt them. So I encourage it.
So you must be really excited to have Tanner Moon running your youth club.
What are you kidding? Absolutely. He's I mean, think about those guys over there, man. I mean, it's not just Tanner. I mean, Tanner, Scott Rohr, he was pretty good.
Oh, right.
Steve Godash, he's been fairly decent through the court, and the list goes on. Knutson has been involved. I mean, these guys have been around forever, and that's a storied program over there. I mean, it's not like that they're a doormat. They're not. They've had more than their share of success, and you got to build on that. You don't ignore history, you embrace it, and you want to get back and saying, hey, we want to be like this team. We want to be like these guys, and we can get back there. We've still got those kids. I mean, you see them every Friday night, right? You see them every Friday night. Every year you watch them. They come out of a little tunnel and they come in there and they knock somebody's head off. They're tough. They're gritty. They're disciplined. Well, what if we got some of those in the wrestling mat? Let's get some of those guys back out. Get some of those football players back out. Let's see what happens then.
If I were Thompson and Vista, I'm a little bit concerned right now.
No. They do their thing, we do ours, and everybody has their own philosophy. But I tell you what, at the end of the day, if I'm tougher than you are, and that's the thing, Brandon knows more wrestling than I do. You probably know more wrestling than I do, but I know this. I've made it a point through the course of my career that if you happen to cross-face me, I'm not going to forget it. You might be smarter, you might be quicker, you might be more athletic, but you are not going to be tougher than I am. So you want to instill that toughness, and once you get that down pat, I mean, at the end of the day, wrestling's for tough guys. I mean, there's a whole lot of whips out there in that little circle, You got to have a certain amount of something about you in that circle, and it's not my job to determine how tough's too tough. That guy, little fellow out there wearing stripes, that's his job. He figures out how tough is too tough, and we'll let him tell us that. But I just want to get after it and be excited about being there, and just get after folks. That's why I love the sport. You can't hide. That's the greatest thing about the sport of wrestling, in my opinion. The greatest thing is there's nowhere to hide. There is no timeout. It's you and that guy, and if it hurts, you got the option. You can lay down. That's the only option you got. You can keep going, you can lay down. That's it. That's what I love about it. I just want to get us to a point where our guys don't lay down. And if I make you beat me, that's a little bit harder than me just beating myself. Let me make somebody else beat me. If you do, I'll shake your hand, give you due credit. But I'm going to make you beat me. I'm not going to beat me.
That's, I can't. I'm really looking forward to having another powerhouse in the area challenge for that title every year. The more great teams that we have, the more exciting wrestling's going to be, and the more kids are going to love it. So,
Job that Matt's doing though, Matt and Ryan
at Spain Park, yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Hey,
got
guys.
Oak Mountain and Spain
Rusty.
Park, Thompson, Vestavia, even Mountain Brook's up there, and Chelsea's an up and coming, even though they're a 6A. They're getting better every year too.
Pelham is. I think Bill's doing a great job with Pelham. Bill Strickland is doing a fantastic job at Pelham. It's just fun, man. It's fun seeing all these guys. The old hats, I guess you will, the guys that I looked at growing up, wanting to emulate the things they were doing. They're getting on up there, and I'm starting to see the Billy Hughes and Randy Hart and of course Coach Qualls and Joe DeSauro and Steve Gadash, and I'm watching those guys that I idolized, that I thought very highly of. They're going into the Hall of Fames, and now I'm starting to see guys come up behind me that I remembered when they wrestled. And I remember what they were about. So it's kind of neat to watch the way this thing, going for too long. I'm going to be able to sit back and watch, the Kyle Altons of the world, who I think Kyle is a fantastic coach, who he's going to be taking over for Coach Pruitt at ARAB. Coach Pruitt just retired, and Kyle will be going there. Unbelievable coach, and I'm looking forward to see what he does with that program. I got a really good friend at Moody, Greg Jeffcoat, who he and I went to high school. He went to Pinson, I went to Trussville. We were right there, close together, and he won his first state title a couple of years ago. I mean, just unbelievable moment watching him celebrate that, and it's just fun to watch some of these guys that have been at it a while, and Hezzy Morgan, and, what the names go on and on and on, just watching these guys. And I have a great deal of fun now, having been able to enjoy my fair share of success. It's really fun just sitting back and watching these guys, accomplish these things. I tell you, man, I love it. I love watching Jack Laney. Jack wins the state title for Vestavia this year. How cool is that? Jack was that little guy in the white tuxedo. I know y'all seen the pictures of Harley in his solid white tuxedo at the state championship, and his little son is in a solid white tuxedo with a top hat up on his head and a cane. And everybody. That same Jack wins the state title last year as a 9th grader at Vestavia.
Yep.
I mean, it's cool stuff, man. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and so yeah. Rusty poked fun at me about my picture too, just like you did, Scott. Rusty Bear at Oak Mountain. He said that there's no proof that that's even me. Nobody had seen my face in years or something like that.
Yeah, here. Let me share this. Here.
That's a good-looking devil right there.
Yeah, look at that guy.
Goodness gracious.
He's very, very handsome.
Thank you.
I don't know why you would cover all that up with all that hair.
I've got a few more chins than I had back then.
Oh, I see. So one thing I was going to ask you is, well, I have two questions really. If usually, you can't choose like a favorite child, but I'm going to force you to choose a favorite sport. Is it football or is it wrestling?
Ooh, I can't. No, I love them both for so many different reasons. I love the team aspect of both sports. There are times when, as a man, as an individual, there are times when there's really, there's really no one you can count on but you. And you've got to toe the line, and you've got to do the work, whatever that is, and so there's that. But then there are other times when you really have to lean on your support system. I'm nowhere near the man that God has chosen me to be without my wife. That's my support system, and if I don't have her, I'm not the father, I mean, you talk about the accomplishments in wrestling and stuff. Who was raising my kids when I was doing this stuff? You see what I'm saying? So, the team aspect of football, I have to count on those guys to have my back and to help me out and to pick me up when maybe I'm not doing well. But then you turn around and in wrestling, there are those times when I've got to make it happen. I've got to make it happen. It's on me. So to say there's a favorite sport, I can tell you this. I started wrestling. The whole idea, Jack Wood, legendary football coach, actually had to talk my mother into letting me wrestle because she was dead set against it, scared to death I'd get hurt. I actually had a cousin who had won a state title up in Iowa, and he actually died wrestling. And my mom was like, no, not happening, never happening, give it up. And so I tried out for basketball. That's right, basketball in the 9th grade, and made the team. And I can remember telling Coach Wood, I'm so excited, I can't wait till the game starts. And he looked at me and said, games? You ain't going to be playing any games. You're going to run up and down the court, practice, and then you're going to sit on the bench. That's what you're going to do. If you want to be a better football player, you're a wrestler. I was like, right, talk my mom into it. Somehow he did. I to this day, I don't know how he managed to talk her into it. She signed off on it, and so I actually started it, to be a better football player. And I practiced 2 days, went to a tournament, finished 3rd, and it was like, this is like a fish in water. I love this, So to be honest with you, I couldn't answer. I couldn't tell you. I love the sport of football. I've coached it for 23 years. Love the sport of wrestling. Coached it for 23 years. Wouldn't give either of them up. So I know that don't answer your question, but But you also have to understand this about me, Scott. I don't care if we're playing spades, gin rummy, hopscotch, tic-tac-toe, hangman. I don't care what we're playing. I ain't trying to lose. I ain't trying to lose. So I just love to compete. I love to compete. I love the one-on-one aspect of the relationships with kids that you develop. Their success is your success. And that's so cool when you see, you think, when they raise that kid's hand in the circle at the end of the state tournament, and they've won a state tournament, all you see are all those days that kid struggled and he kept practicing. That's all you see, or that's all I see. I don't see that, look, he just won a state tournament. I think, man, I remember 2 years ago when I had to go by that kid's house and pick him up and say, no, you're going, you're coming to practice. This isn't optional. You're going, you're not going to quit. Those are the things that I remember, more than anything else. And so, yeah, I can't pick one. Won't pick one.
Well, I think you're one of the great characters in Alabama wrestling, which is why I wanted to have you on the show. Plus, your announcement for Hoover kind of made it timely. But the other question I have for you is, what is the most misunderstood thing about you?
Everything.
Or should we ask your wife?
All of it.
Well, hold on a minute. She's right here. She's got several answers for you.
We do. The whole person. All of it. The whole person. Every bit. Yeah. You do not get what you see, and you do not see what you get.
Completely misunderstood, right?
I'm the oldest. I can tell you, everybody sees this hard facade, but once you really get to know him, you realize that he really loves everybody. He's a big teddy bear. That's why he focuses on helping people succeed.
They're not right. Look, I think probably. I think people think my motives. I think at the end of the day, people don't realize that I do what I do, but because I love kids. I mean, I know that's a corny answer, but the fact of the matter is, I can't see myself doing anything else, anything else, and so I'm not a win at all cost guy, and a lot of people may think that's not true, but at the end of the day, there's a lot more important things than winning. What are you teaching your kids? So I guess the most misunderstood thing about me is I'm not 110% about winning. I do love winning, but it is not the most important thing. If I'm not teaching these kids to be good kids, good men, good husbands, good fathers, love the Lord, if I'm not doing those things, then I'm failing every day. So that's the best way I can say is, a lot of people think that it's all about winning. It's not. First and foremost is the Lord. Second of all is my family, and after that, on down the line, it's nice to win. It's better than losing. I'm not, like I told you before, I ain't never trying to lose, but it's not everything. There are other things.
Well, I appreciate you being very candid with us on that. And before we go, I do have to ask Brandon a question, because
Okay.
Brandon made his big announcement this week that he was getting engaged, but he also said that it didn't quite go as planned. So I want to know, what was the plan, and then what really happened?
So originally we were actually supposed to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Me and my cousin and his wife and my now fiance were all gonna go up there. And I had booked this whole trip and everything. And I mean, it was a beautiful cabin out in the middle of the woods, kind of exclusive off by itself. I mean, it was really cool, and I was super excited. We had a whole weekend planned out. It was a 3 or 4 day weekend. And I was going to take her on this hike, and I had everything planned. I put a lot of time and effort into it. And a week before we were supposed to go, it was my spring break. They canceled. They shut everything down. I mean, the national tournament got canceled, and then like immediately after that, within the next week, I was like, oh, maybe we'll still be able to go, travel, because it wasn't necessarily that you weren't allowed to travel at that point yet. And ended up getting canceled. Everything got shut down, so we had to cancel the trip and everything. But that's when I was originally planning on proposing. I had it all planned out, like a sunset proposal, and then ended up being up in Wisconsin for 5 or 6 weeks, and came down here and finally got the ring. And we actually made a fire out back. She loves being outdoors and fires, and we were setting everything up, and I asked her to help me take some chairs out, and I asked her. And we had already had the fire going and everything. It was a little before sunset, but honestly, she was wearing sweats, and she's like, how could you? But that's her. I mean, no makeup, sweats. Like, we were super comfortable. It was just me and her. It was a very one-on-one moment, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It was really special and super excited. And, she's a really special girl, so I'm happy.
Well, Matt has been married a very long time, so I'm sure he's got some great advice for you in getting started out on the right foot.
Let me tell you this, and you talk about not coming as planned. Let me tell you how it worked for me. I went and picked up my girlfriend. I said, "What do you want for lunch?" She said, "I don't know. I'm not real hungry." I said, "I'm not real hungry either." She said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "You want to get married?" She said, "Yeah." We went to the courthouse, paid $48.50 to get married. We've been married 27 years in June. So, the proposals and everything, they're real nice and everything. But at the end of the day, like I said, my wedding cost less than $50. Now, y'all beat that.
Brandon,
That'd be a hard one to beat.
we should have talked to him before the proposal.
I met her in the 9th grade and hung on tight. I definitely outkicked my coverage. I've been hanging on ever since.
And she seems to still like you, Matt. That's great.
She's got so much invested. I'm as close to trained as I'm going to be, so she don't want to start over.
Yeah, Brandon will be pretty soon. Pretty soon he'll be saying, "I can't get on the show. My wife won't let me."
Oh, no. My wife loves it. I'm not bothering her.
Yep.
No, I'm really happy for you, Brandon. I'm sure she's wonderful. Your family must love her too.
Yeah, they're really awesome, super supportive, and so I'm excited. She's a special girl, and I'm just excited to start life. Honestly, I've been in college for 6 years, and feels like forever, and didn't necessarily end the way I wanted it. Senior spring and everything. Here we are, but I'm just ready to get rolling and get started and kind of start life.
Tell you, it'll go by like that.
Yeah,
we
A
both
buddy of
feel
mine
like
that
we were
graduated
your
last
age
year.
yesterday. So enjoy
Yeah.
every moment. Don't waste a moment.
My buddy that graduated last year told me not to rush it because once you work, it never stops. And yeah, I get it. So am trying to make the most of what I have and being at home, being with family, and just enjoying the time that I do have before I start my job. But I'm excited to.
This is the longest I've ever been off, Brandon. I don't know what to do with myself. I've never had this. I told you I've coached 3 sports my whole career. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been at home this much. I had to go crazy.
The only
you can't
person
even
that
watch
might have
sports.
a problem with it. Yeah, the only person that might have a problem with it's your wife, right?
She finds stuff for me to do. I mean, I've built a fire pit and a cornhole pit and screened in the back porch. And she finds stuff for me to do, but I mean, you know, that don't mean I necessarily want to do all of it. It just means she's finding stuff for me to do.
Yep.
Well, Brandon's
My
not
dad,
afraid.
my dad always says there's always something to be done. So
Yeah.
they'll find something.
Find work. Always find work. Don't sit down. Find work.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we can get you on again, Matt. Do you think, just one last question. Do you think Chris Pike is going to take over at Pinson Valley?
Pinson.
I think Chris was hoping to look into some other opportunities that are out there, and there's some unbelievable jobs coming open. It's going to be exciting to find out who ends up at your Trustful. You know, that job is open, and Oxford is open, and obviously Pinson is open. And there may be some more too, but those are the 3 that I know of right off. So it's going to be exciting. You know, people are always moving. So I know there's some good young coaches that are trying to get in to the sport. You know, as far as that's concerned. And you know, if I had any advice to a young guy, I was like, man, find somewhere you can assist a little while. You know, being thrown into that situation was, you know, if I had my druthers, I would not have been a head coach my second year. I mean, I kind of felt like I was not prepared for it, and sure enough, got fired. You know, because I wasn't ready for all that. But I know there's some young folks that are trying to get in. So it's gonna be interesting to see who fills those jobs. I mean, that Trustful job, Oxford job, you know, those are pretty high profile jobs. You know, so I don't really know what Chris, you know, where he's going. I know he's going to be involved in wrestling. I just don't know where.
Well, I'm sure he'll land somewhere great.
Yeah, unbelievable coach.
Yeah. Well, Matt, you've always been great to me, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And hopefully we can get you on again because we still haven't talked about the new rule changes. You know, that was pretty big, and then the sanctioning of the girls, and you know, we got a lot more to talk about in the future. And you know, we got to find out when Brandon's going to start coaching for you.
He knows he's welcome. You know, I only begged the one part. I take that back. I begged the 2 people. I begged to the Lord. I begged to my wife. Outside of that, I don't beg anybody. But Brandon knows good and well that he's welcome anywhere I am, as well as all my kids. You know, all the kids that I've coached anywhere. You know, where I am is home. You know, just because you wrestled for me when I was at Heflin, you know, now I'm at Hoover. You know, if I'm in that room, you're welcome in it. And so hopefully Brandon will be around. I tell Jonathan all the time, I'm getting him down from Chattanooga or wherever he is up there teaching jiu-jitsu. I'm going to get him down there with some guys to work some too. So it's a family thing, this wrestling thing, especially in Alabama. We're all tied. We're so intertied together that, I mean, you know, it's all one big family. So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't get too long-winded. I don't do many interviews. Like I said, told you about Pike, I got a face for radio, so I certainly don't do this too often. But I appreciate you having me, and keep doing what you're doing for wrestling, guys. I mean, love it.
You too. Right back at you. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, guys.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.